Let's talk about the 12 deadliest Mongol warriors of all time, the riders who built the largest contiguous empire in human history. From Tier 3 tacticians who shattered kingdoms to God-tier conquerors who rewrote the map, these weren't just warriors, they were force multipliers on horseback, strategists who turned mobility into an unstoppable weapon.
My oath is my compass. It guides my every attack.
At number 12, we've got Jelme, the loyal guard who saved Genghis Khan's life before the empire even existed. Born into servitude around 1164, Jelme was given to young Temujin, the future Genghis Khan, as a companion. But this wasn't just some bodyguard role. When Temujin was ambushed and shot with a poisoned arrow during a raid, Jelme stayed by his side through the night, sucking the poison from the wound and keeping him alive. No Jelme, no Genghis Khan. No Genghis Khan, no Mongol Empire. Jelme became one of the founding members of the Keshig, Genghis Khan's elite imperial guard. He fought in the unification wars across Mongolia, commanded cavalry divisions during the Khwarezmian campaign, and led advanced scouting parties that gathered intelligence before major invasions. His specialty: long-range reconnaissance and lightning raids that softened enemy defenses before the main horde arrived. Jelme lands in Tier 3 because while his loyalty and tactical contributions were crucial, he never commanded empire-scale campaigns or achieved the legendary status of higher-ranked warriors. He was the ultimate sidekick, deadly, dependable, but not the main carry. Quick, before we gallop into the next warrior, if you want more legendary loadouts from history, hit subscribe.
An arrow right to that Persian head will be my 900th body count.
At number 11, meet Boorchu, Genghis Khan's childhood blood brother and one of the Four Hounds, the Khan's most trusted generals. Boorchu's origin story is pure loyalty speedrun. When young Temujin had his horses stolen by raiders, a random stranger, Boorchu saw him tracking the thieves and just joined him, no questions asked. They rode together, recovered the horses, and formed a bond that lasted decades. That's ride-or-die level friendship before it was a meme. He fought in every major campaign of Genghis Khan's early conquests: the unification of the Mongol tribes, the invasions of the Jin dynasty, and the Khwarezmian Empire. Boorchu commanded the right flank of the Mongol army, a critical position in their standard crescent formation. When the enemy committed to the center, Boorchu's cavalry would swing around and crush them from the side. His signature move: feigned retreats. He'd pull back, draw enemy cavalry into overextending, then wheel around and slaughter them in open terrain. Classic Mongol bait-and switch. Boorchu earns Tier 3 because his greatest strength was execution, not innovation. He followed Genghis Khan's strategies flawlessly but didn't revolutionize Mongol warfare himself. Legendary support, but not a solo carry.
Why rule a single nation when you can preside over the world?
At number 10, we've got Kublai Khan, the Mongol who conquered China and founded the Yuan dynasty. But here's the thing, he wasn't really a battlefield warrior. Born in 1215, Kublai was Genghis Khan's grandson and grew up during the empire's golden age. While his brothers were grinding on horseback, Kublai was leveling up his administrative and political skill trees. When he became Great Khan in 1260, he shifted the Mongol meta from pure conquest to imperial governance. His biggest military achievement: the conquest of the Song dynasty, which took 20 years and finally unified China under Mongol rule in 1279. But Kublai didn't lead cavalry charges. He commanded from strategy rooms, used siege engineers, and built a navy to attack coastal cities. He adapted Mongol warfare to terrain where horses struggled. He also launched 2 failed invasions of Japan, both destroyed by typhoons, the famous kamikaze storms. Massive resource investment, zero return. That's a -2 KD ratio on a continental scale. Kublai lands in Tier 3 because while he expanded Mongol territory and ruled the largest khanate, he wasn't a frontline fighter. He's the player who wins through economy and tech, not combat micro. Effective, but not what we're ranking highest here. At number 9, entering Tier 2, we've got Talyui Khan, Genghis Khan's youngest son and the Mongol horde's most aggressive field commander. Born around 1191, Talyui inherited the traditional Mongol homeland and the bulk of the army, about 101,000 troops, the largest force given to any of Genghis Khan's sons, and he earned it. Talyui was the enforcer, the closer, the one they sent when a city needed to be erased. During the Khwarezmian campaign, Talyui led the southern prong of the invasion, when the city of Merv, one of the largest in the world at the time, refused to surrender. Talyui's forces massacred an estimated 700,000 to over 1 million people. Entire irrigation systems were destroyed. The city never recovered. His tactical innovation, integrating Chinese siege engineers into Mongol mobile warfare. He brought catapults, trebuchets, and gunpowder weapons on horseback, turning nomadic cavalry into a combined arms juggernaut. Talyui died young, possibly poisoned, possibly from alcoholism in 1232, but his sons included Murk Khan and Kublai Khan. His bloodline ruled the empire for generations. Talyui ranks in Tier 2 because he was a battlefield monster and tactical innovator, but his early death cut short what could have been an even more legendary career. Dominant, but not immortal.
The West trembles not under our hooves, but under our will.
At number 8, meet Batu Khan, the Mongol who terrified Europe and founded the Golden Horde. Born around 1205, Batu was Genghis Khan's grandson and led the Western campaigns that crushed Russia, Hungary, and Poland. Between 1236 and 1242, he commanded an army of 150,000 and carved through Eastern Europe like it was a tutorial level. His greatest moment, the invasion of Hungary in 1241. At the Battle of Mohai, Batu's forces destroyed a Hungarian army of 25,000 in a single day using classic Mongol tactics: feigned retreat, envelopment, and merciless pursuit. Survivors said the Mongols hunted fleeing soldiers for days, turning retreat into extermination. Batu established the Golden Horde, which controlled Russia and the Eurasian steppes for over 2 centuries. He didn't just conquer, he built a khanate that outlasted most of the Mongol Empire's fragments. But here's the catch: Batu's Western campaigns stopped at the gates of Vienna, not because of military defeat, but because of internal Mongol politics. When the Great Khan died, Batu withdrew to secure his position in succession disputes. Batu earns Tier 2 for reshaping the geopolitical map of Europe and founding a lasting khanate, but he didn't achieve the same scale of conquest as the top-tier legends. Feared across a continent, but not the final boss. Before we rank the final 6 warriors, quick, if you're vibing with this, hit subscribe. We rank historical figures and battles every week. Don't miss the next one.
Loyalty is the sharpest blade in the Khan's arsenal.
At number 7, we've got Mughal, the general Genghis Khan trusted to conquer China while he went off to destroy Khwarezm. Born around 1170, Mughal started as a slave, captured during tribal wars. Genghis Khan freed him and recognized his talent. Mughal rose to become one of the 4 hounds, the Khan's top commanders. In 1217, Genghis Khan gave Mughal an unprecedented title, Commander-in-Chief of China, with full authority to conduct the war against the Jin dynasty independently. For the next 6 years, Mughal besieged cities, negotiated surrenders, and ground down Jin resistance with a relatively small force. His genius combined arms. Mughal integrated Chinese infantry, Korean auxiliaries, and Khitan cavalry into Mongol strategy, adapting to siege warfare and urban combat, environments where pure nomadic cavalry struggled. When he died in 1223, still campaigning, the Jin dynasty was on the brink of collapse. His relentless pressure paved the way for the final Mongol conquest of northern China. Mughal lands in Tier 2 because he carried an entire theater of war solo for years, but his achievements were incremental rather than explosive. Essential to victory, but not the flashiest carry.
My legacy is written in the tracks of my herds, from east to west.
At number 6, meet Jochai, Genghis Khan's eldest son and the Mongol conqueror of Central Asia, though his legacy is stained by questions of legitimacy. Born around 1182, Jochai's parentage was disputed. His mother, Bert, had been kidnapped by the Merkit tribe and was pregnant when rescued. Genghis Khan accepted Jochai as his son, but the whispers never stopped. That psychological debuff followed him his entire life. Despite the politics, Jochai was a ruthless and effective commander. He led the conquest of Khwarezm's northern cities, subdued the Kipchak Turks, and secured the western steppes. His Ulu's territory stretched from the Ural River to Lake Balkhash, an empire-sized domain. But Jochai clashed with his father and brothers. He questioned Genghis Khan's scorched earth tactics, arguing for more strategic occupation. Some sources say Genghis Khan planned to have him killed. Jochai died in 1227, conveniently just before Genghis Khan under mysterious circumstances. His sons, especially Badu Khan, would go on to build the Golden Horde and dominate Russia for centuries. Jochai earns Tier 2 for massive territorial gains and founding a dynasty, but his strained relationship with Genghis Khan and early death kept him from reaching legendary solo status. Powerful, but politically compromised.
They says I am the best recon, and they are goddamn right.
At number 5, entering Tier 1, we've got Jebe Noyan, the Arrow, Genghis Khan's master of deep reconnaissance and lightning warfare. Jebe's origin story is insane. He fought against Genghis Khan in an early tribal war and shot the Khan's horse out from under him. When captured, instead of begging for mercy, Jebe admitted what he'd done and offered his skills. Genghis Khan, recognizing that level of honesty and talent, recruited him on the spot and renamed him Jebe, meaning arrow. Jebe became the tip of the Mongol spear. He led advance forces during the Khwarezmian campaign, conducted deep raids into enemy territory, and pioneered reconnaissance and force tactics. His most legendary feat, the Great Raid of 1221-1223. After the Khwarezmian Empire fell, Jebe and Subutai led 20,000 cavalry on a 3-year, 8,000-mile reconnaissance loop around the Caspian Sea. They smashed through Georgia, destroyed a coalition of Russian princes at the Battle of Kalka River, and returned to Mongolia with complete intelligence on European defenses. It wasn't just a raid, it was a strategic deep strike that scouted the entire region for future conquest. Jebe reaches Tier 1 because he redefined cavalry warfare, executed impossible operational maneuvers, and provided the strategic intel that enabled later Mongol invasions. Legendary solo carry.
Everything is proceeding exactly as I planned.
At number 4, we've got Urjadeh Khan, Genghis Khan's third son and the empire's second great Khan, the administrator who turned conquests into an empire. Born in 1186, Urjadeh wasn't the best warrior among his brothers, but Genghis Khan chose him as successor because of his diplomatic skill and strategic patience. When Urjadeh took power in 1229, the empire was fractured. He unified it. Urjadeh finalized the conquest of the Jin dynasty, ordered the invasions of Korea, Russia, and Eastern Europe, and established the Yam, the Mongol postal relay system that connected the empire. He built Karakorum, the Mongol capital, and implemented tax systems that funded further expansion. But Urjadeh was also a battlefield commander. He personally led the final siege of Kaifeng, the Jin capital, in 1232-1233, a year-long siege involving 300,000 troops and advanced siege weapons. His weakness? Alcoholism. Urjadeh drank heavily and it killed him in 1241. His death caused the withdrawal of Mongol forces from Europe and potentially saved Western civilization from conquest. Urjadeh lands in Tier 1 for expanding the empire to its greatest territorial extent and creating the infrastructure that held it together, but his personal battlefield impact doesn't match pure combat legends. Architect of empire, not its sharpest blade.
To conquer the world, you must first see its every path.
At number 3, meet Subutai, the greatest general in Mongol history and one of the deadliest commanders who ever lived. Born in 1175 to a blacksmith family, Subutai rose through merit alone. He fought in over 60 battles and conquered 32 nations. Let that sink in, 32 nations. Most generals don't even fight that many campaigns. Subutai pioneered coordinated multi-front invasions. During the conquest of the Khwarezmian Empire, he commanded columns separated by hundreds of miles but synchronized their attacks with terrifying precision. He invented the use of spies and advanced intelligence networks to map enemy movements months in advance. His masterpiece, the invasion of Europe. Subutai commanded 150,000 troops across 3 fronts simultaneously, Poland, Hungary, and the Balkans, crushing every army sent against him. At the Battle of Mohyl 1241, he used a feigned night retreat to lure the Hungarians into a false sense of security, then encircled and annihilated them at dawn. Subutai fought into his 60s, ancient for a Mongol general, and never lost a campaign. Subutai reaches Tier 1 God tier because he's the template every military academy still studies. He didn't just execute Genghis Khan's vision, he expanded it, the GOAT tactician.
It is better to be on hand with 10 men than absent with 10,000.
At number 2, we've got Timur, known as Tamerlane, the Mongol Turkic conqueror who claimed Genghis Khan's legacy and built an empire through sheer brutality. Born in 1336, Timur wasn't a direct descendant of Genghis Khan, but he married into the family and adopted the title Gurkhani, son-in-law. He was a self-made warlord who rose through charisma, tactical genius, and unmatched ruthlessness. Between 1370 and 1405, Timur conquered Persia, Central Asia, India, Anatolia, and the Caucasus. His campaigns left pyramids of skulls as calling cards. In Isfahan, after rebellion, he massacred 70,000 people and built towers from their heads. In Delhi, he slaughtered 100,000 prisoners before the battle even started to prevent resistance. Timur's tactical innovation combined arms warfare at scale. He integrated heavy cavalry, archers, siege engines, war elephants, and gunpowder weapons into coordinated strikes. At the Battle of Ankara 1402, Timur crushed the Ottoman Empire and captured Sultan Bayezid I, one of the most humiliating defeats in Ottoman history. He was preparing to invade China when he died in 1405. Timur earns Tier 1 God tier for rebuilding the Mongol Empire's scale and ferocity a century after its collapse. He's Genghis Khan too, brutal, brilliant, and unstoppable. But there's one warrior who transcends. As all of this.
I might be a bad person, but I work to decrease pollution. If you know, you know.
At number 1, the warrior who changed human history forever, Genghis Khan, born Temujin. Born around 1162 into poverty, Temujin's father was poisoned when he was 9. His family was abandoned by their tribe and left to starve. He killed his half-brother over food. He was enslaved, escaped, and clawed his way to leadership one alliance at a time. By 1206, Temujin had united the Mongol tribes and was proclaimed Genghis Khan, universal ruler. From there, he built the largest contiguous empire in history, 24 million square kilometers, stretching from Korea to Eastern Europe. His tactical genius, mobility, intelligence, and psychological warfare. Mongol armies moved faster than any force in history, 60 miles a day on horseback. They used spies, feigned retreats, and terror to collapse enemy morale before battles even started. Genghis Khan didn't just win wars, he rewrote the rules. He destroyed the Khwarezmian Empire so completely that some regions didn't recover for centuries. He killed an estimated 40 million people, about 10% of the world's population at the time. When he died in 1227, his empire was still expanding. His descendants would rule from China to Russia for generations. Genghis Khan is God tier because he didn't just dominate his era, he reshaped the genetic, cultural, and political landscape of Eurasia permanently. Historians estimate 1 in 200 men alive today are his direct descendants. That's not a warrior, that's a force of nature. From Jelme's unwavering loyalty to Genghis Khan's world-breaking conquests, these weren't just warriors, they were architects of empires, tacticians who turned horses into unstoppable weapons, and conquerors who made entire kingdoms disappear. The Mongols didn't just win battles, they rewrote the meta for warfare itself. So tell me, which Mongol warrior would you main? The tactical genius Subutai, the terror of Europe Batu Khan, or the god-tier legend himself, Genghis Khan? Drop your pick in the comments. Let's see who still rides with the Horde.